Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
When we say live, we mean live. Hi, everybody. Sorry for coming on. So that's my fault. Sorry for starting so late here, but that means that the stuff has got to be good, right? Holding all this stuff, getting ready to dish it all out. So I'm your host, Ed McQueen, and of course, none other than Miss April Garner. She's our co-host. We want to get right into this thing because we've got a critical issue here that nobody seems to know what to do with, and that is housing, affordable housing, for sure. As a prelude to really buying homes. Okay, I'm going to put it that way, for lack of a better way to put it. And so we want to talk about that today with someone who is as was broadcasted as or promoted as award-winning real estate lady. And but having said that, she must have a lot of things under her belt, and a lot that I'm sure that you all can learn from today. And that's none other than you want me to call her name right now, April?
I'm gonna bring her on the screen. It's none other than Jacinda Wright. Hi, Jacinda. How are you?
Hey, how is everyone?
Yeah, that's right. But first, before anything, save me a house, okay?
I'll save one.
This is saving.
I got one saved for you right now.
You know, save one right now. You already put it down. All right.
I put it down.
Putting it down. Wait a minute. An affordable house.
It'll be affordable.
It'll be affordable.
Maybe.
Uh-oh. This is not starting off good, is it?
It's starting off wonderful.
Yeah, maybe you can find me an affordable house. Okay.
Well, as long as you don't try to live beyond your means, everything's affordable. Everything's affordable. You have to do what you have to do.
All right. Well,
having
said that, then we're gonna. I'm gonna start off with some information on new financing available. Okay. What can you tell us about that? Well, first, do you want to?
Let's start with her introducing herself, because we just kind of moved right into it. Jacinda Wright, and we know that she is with Century 21 Broadhurst, award-winning. Definitely, there's always a billboard that is showcasing your talent.
Yeah,
and as one of the premier realtors in the Grand Strand area, and probably even the state, when it comes down to the Century 21 franchise. And it's always great to see your face on the billboards and all over social media. I follow you personally. You're always posting uplifting messages for everyone, and you know your stuff. You really do know your stuff. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit more about yourself, just in case they're just used to seeing the little small picture on Facebook and probably never gotten a chance to really hear your voice or hear anything about you.
My name is Jacinda Wright. I am a realtor with Century 21 Broadhurst. This is my 9th year in real estate. I am originally from Conway, South Carolina. I was born and raised there right on 701 South. I graduated from Conway High School in 2000. I am a 2004 graduate of Columbia College with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. Started my real estate career in September 2014. I absolutely love what I do. I love to serve my community and help in any way I can to shed some insight and knowledge on the real estate market.
Mm-hmm. So Jacinda and I had a conversation, kind of a pre-show conversation, when I invited her to be with us on a broadcast, because there's a lot going on in Horry County right now when it comes down to new home starts and construction developments everywhere. And, there's, a lot of conversation in and about communities about the impact of these new home starts in certain communities, especially the ones that haven't really seen any development like in, decades. And so, some of it's new to certain sectors of Horry County, and some of it is a surprise to certain sectors in Horry County. And so, one of the things that we definitely wanted to get into tonight is just a discussion about how the landscape of real estate in Horry County has changed, and also why it's changed. And so, Jacinda, when you think about it from the standpoint of being a realtor, I mean, your lens is the premier lens that we really need to understand and see things through. Why has there been a shift in the landscape of real estate in Horry County? What was the catalyst for that?
Just growth of the state and the area as a whole. When I started in real estate years ago, my broker in charge at the time said that the Myrtle Beach area was predicted to be like Miami in terms of population and growth and affordability as well. So I've seen that change happen from September 2014 till now, and it's a great change for our area. I think that we should embrace everyone that loves the Myrtle Beach area as a whole, which would be the Grand Strand, the 60-mile stretch from the north end to the south end in Georgetown. It's just a growing area as a whole. I think Myrtle Beach is the second or maybe third largest growing area in the nation. So that's going to span out from, it's going to go to Conway, it's going to go to Loris, it's going to go to Aner, it's going to go to Longs, it's going to go to Little River. It's going to go to all the areas that previously probably didn't plan or prepare for that, just because you have so many people coming here, because we do live in a wonderful area.
Mm-hmm. And of course, this is a premier tourist destination on the East Coast. It's a regional draw is, definitely undeniable. You have Myrtle Beach, which kind of, it's right on the lip of the Atlantic Ocean. And you have folks who are coming in from, Charlotte, as far as the region, folks who, come from various areas just around like a very close radius. But then you have folks who are coming from up north. We always have vacationers who are coming from our northern states, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, places like that. And of course, we can't, deny our Canadian visitors who come every year. I mean, we used to have I don't know if we still have the Canadian festival, that I remember. Okay. So, it's obviously a draw. And, that draw has always been kind of like bittersweet for locals in the area, because, while it's great that these tourists are coming to the area and bringing lots of money and putting beds and heads, it's also like a traffic nightmare. People are wondering, why are they coming? What's here? Because as locals, we don't always see what our visitors see. And I think that that's probably the case too, as we think about people who are moving into the area. And I don't know how many of your, clients are from, northern states or from other states who, and those clients actually see Myrtle Beach as, and even Horry County as a great place to live. But of the clients that you have and the ones who are coming to you to seek land or property opportunities around the area, where do you think most of them are coming from? Are they northerners who are relocating after retirement? Are they locals who are expanding? Is it a little bit of both? What's really happening as far as the clientele is concerned?
I'd say clients are from all walks of life. Predominantly, this has always been a retirement area when it comes to terms of real estate sales. This has always been a retirement area. So you have a lot of people coming from the north. I've seen in more recent years, a lot of people coming from out west. You have locals that are expanding, that are building, that are, just relocating within the local area, whether they're moving from Myrtle Beach to Conway, from Georgetown to Surfside. So you have it all. There's no one set specific client or one set specific percentage of people coming. I'm not going to say 80% of the people coming from New York, because that's not true. People are coming from everywhere to come here.
Okay. So, one of the things that sparked our conversation is related to what we're seeing as far as new home starts in the Conway area. And I don't know if most of your clients come from the Myrtle Beach side, if you have a great balance or mix of, all of Horry County. But, one conversation that you and I had was all about some of the things that people believe about new home starts in their communities. And so, as people look around their environments, look around their communities, and they see new homes being built in their backyards or next door to them or whatever, especially in areas where there hasn't been any growth in, more than 2 or 3 decades. A lot of them are getting, I guess, a little nervous about the impact of these new homes coming into the area and what it means for their home and property value. So, what's some insight you can give people as far as an understanding of what it means when they see these new homes coming into the area and how it's going to impact their surroundings, like, 5 or 10 years down the line?
When you and I spoke, we were speaking about Sugar Hill and Conway areas where, every now and then you'll see 2 or 3 new homes pop up out of the blue and you're like, wait a minute, what happened? That's great for the community. It's great for the community because you're bringing in a new home that's going to add to any existing home's property value. I'm not going to say it's going to increase the value by $250,000. It may not increase the value by $75,000, but it may increase the value of your home by $10,000 or $20,000. So let's give a prime example. My parents' house, they purchased in 1981, I think, for $80,000. Today, you have 2 neighborhoods that were built behind them in the past 12 years that has increased their property value over time to about $300,000. It's the same scenario for a home on 9th Avenue that's been there for 50 years. You get a new home to come in and it sells for $200,000. That home that was purchased in 1975 for, let's just say, $65,000 is now probably worth $180,000, $190,000, depending upon the upgrades or additions that personal property owner has done over the course of time. Would also determine their value increasing. So when you see new homes coming into the community, don't get apprehensive or afraid, because it's bringing growth to the community. It's bringing something new and fresh to the community that's going to increase the community's value over time, as long as you take care of your stuff.
And I know, one effect that some people believe may happen is the possibility of spiraling property taxes. There's a fear that, these new homes that are being built around me, they're, $250,000 or whatever, and my home was not purchased for that amount, my tax is going to go up. What can you tell people about how they should, or what they need to understand about property taxes and how new growth and development impacts their tax base?
Like you and I spoke about, your taxes are not going to be, it's not like you're going to go from paying $500 annually to $5,000 annually. That's not how taxes work for property for residents in the area. So one thing that you and I spoke about that I want people to be aware of that may not be aware of, you have 2 tax rates in Horry County when it comes to residential or property taxes. You have your primary resident rate, which is 4%, and then you have your secondary rate, which is second home or investment property. When you purchase a property, Horry County tax assessor automatically bills you at that 6% rate. It is up to you as a homeowner, if this is your residence that you're going to live in and occupy, 80% of the time, to go to the assessor's office and ask them to switch you to the primary rate. And you and I spoke about that. A lot of people may not know that. Some people may not. Some people may forget. I've forgotten to do it before. That's one thing. So that's what keeps your tax rate manageable. And that's why people come here for our great taxes. Um, Second thing is when you are of a certain age, you get a homestead exemption. So a lot of the elders in the community, they are of age where they get that homestead exemption. So on top of them having the primary residence rate of 4%, they also get another discount, which would keep their taxes very manageable.
Mm. And you're right. A lot of people, don't have any idea that that even exists, or, they're just receiving their tax notices and not really questioning it or whatever. I guess kind of the whispers on the street and the things that people are concerned about are rooted in the new development, rooted in the taxes, rooted in the thoughts of gentrification and a lot of other things. Just based on your knowledge of what's really happening in the area, what do you think is, I guess, the primary catalyst or the reason why there have been some significant changes in these communities? Is it related to the flooding? Is it a combination of people moving into the area and then locals who are trying to, I guess, reestablish themselves after the flooding? What's happening? Because the shift is highly noticeable. I mean, it's almost like night and day. 1 minute there's one home, and the next minute it's like, wait a minute, where did those 4 houses come from over there? And again, word on the street has everything to do with people moving from, like one side of town to the other due to the issues that we naturally have in the Grand Strand area that are related to flooding. So, what insight or, thoughts can you share with us about that?
For flooding areas, I cannot give you a specific area where people, if they've been flooded, everybody's moving over here, everybody's moving over there. That's just not the case. I do think that there are builders that are local builders that see the need to build newer housing in areas that, as we discussed, they haven't had anything come in 20, 30, maybe 40 or 50 years. I don't personally think that it's a malicious thing or anybody's trying to drive anybody out, but it is hard to build, quote unquote, affordable housing in other areas such as Myrtle Beach proper or North Myrtle Beach proper, just because the specifications for a house may be a little bit different. If you're going to go into certain neighborhoods, your roof has to be this pitch. You have to have so many square feet. So for certain builders, they are just trying to bring a nice quality home to an area that's affordable to any and everybody who qualifies. I don't think that they're targeting any certain group of people over the other. I think that they are just bringing affordable housing, which right now, if you can get something under 300,000, you're doing really good. And that's just a change in our area. That's a change from construction materials being high. COVID, everybody's gonna say COVID. It's just the change. It's just the change across the nation. It's not just Conway. It's not just Horry County. It's not just Georgetown. It's everywhere.
Okay. All right, Brother Edward, you have any questions for Jacinda?
Right. Yeah. So far, because I'm going to use gentrification as one of the dynamics. What is? I'm not going to ask for the positive impact. What negative impact has there been? Okay. And that you've seen, say, and trying to sell. Okay. Is that a tough question?
You may get some people, okay, because you want to go on another level. I like that. You may get some people that don't want to move to the area because you have a lot of walkers at night. I just had this conversation with a client about 4:00. I like this house. I like that neighborhood. She's familiar with the neighborhood. Her family's from here. They grew up over there, but they have a lot of walkers at night. So I don't want to be over there. can you find me something else at that same price over there? You know, it is what it is. You go take one thing and gain something else. So with the newer homes coming in certain areas, some people may not feel safe and some people may not feel comfortable. And some people may say, we're going to move over here and make it a safer place.
Yeah, I like those people. I think they're right, because they're aggressive at that being dynamic, for sure.
Yeah.
And that helps everybody else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a spreading cell of something, and then all of a sudden everything spurts around it. I've seen that happen, and I still think that's predominates everything else. Okay, but you're taking a chance when you have that. You're taking a chance. So having said that, what do you think is on the horizon when someone or a few people go into a neighborhood that is surrounded by something that's undesirable or something that you don't have any control over, but you don't want it there? Are there any new laws coming on the books, do you think, or
none that I'm aware of?
Okay.
I don't know of any laws coming to change the dynamic, you know, and there could be, but I'm just not abreast of those.
Okay. So
next
what?
question.
Yeah, no. What existing laws can be applicable to some cases like that, you think, and that you find when you're selling real estate? And secondly, have you come into the cases like that?
Repeat that last part.
Okay, what existing laws can we use that can be used in order to facilitate what the intent is? You know, like you want to come there and you want to be the catalyst for something new in the neighborhood. What laws may not be laws, but maybe ordinances, okay, that could help to propel that.
That is a question for the judicial system and police department, because I don't know of any ordinances besides your city ordinances in regards to noise and litter and stuff like
Loitering and things like that.
Loitering, you know, your regular laws still apply. I think sometimes, depending upon the neighborhood and depending upon the visitors of the neighborhood, that anywhere, I think sometimes the laws are disregarded because you start letting things slide this way and that's just what they do and nobody's going to stop it. When you have a different presence, sometimes the respect level changes.
So I want to go back for just a moment. Margie McIver made a comment about the new developments, and she says these new developments then will never be accessible to low-income families. So as we talk about, you know, the property values, you said, you know, anything under $300,000 is good now. There's, you know, this major discussion about affordable or accessible housing. And of course, during MLK Day, the Horry County MLK Day committee had a panel, and there were panelists who were talking about pretty much like, you know, what does it mean in terms of, you know, what is affordable housing? You know, are we using the terminology correctly? And, you know, do we really need to lean more into the idea of accessible housing versus affordable housing? Because a lot of people think that the term affordable is subjective. And so as you think about what you're seeing in terms of new developments and how it impacts low income families, you know, what are your thoughts as far as, will they ever overcome the barriers to home ownership? And I know that, for example, there are programs out there like Habitat for Humanity that are supposed to address certain issues like that. But, you know, what can people do who are, I guess, kind of designated as low income? What can they do to prepare for home ownership? And then on the backside of that, Kevin Mishu asked, what are some of the main obstacles you see to minority home ownership as well?
Okay, let's see who I want to address first. Ms. McIver. I do agree with what she said. Low income families, yeah, 300,000. It's out of the question. Um, in terms of affordable housing, a lot of times when you get such a big population, and I don't think Conway has seen the growth just yet, and that may be something on the horizon. But when you get a certain amount of people that move into the area and you have a certain income level or a certain home value level, you have to build housing to support the regular working class or the low income. You have to provide that type of housing, whether it will be housing for purchase or housing available for rental. That I cannot answer, but I do know once you get a certain number of people, and I don't know how that's calculated, if that's what the census data is for, I'm not sure about that, but I do know you have to provide affordable housing. So I can say that's something that will probably be coming to the area in the future. Who's going to do it? I don't know.
Right.
Where it's going to be built, I can't say. But just historically speaking, you have to have that. No matter what, you have to have affordable housing. Now, if that's going to be a purchase or a rental base, we cannot say. But if you have quote unquote unaffordable housing for the regular working class, you have to have affordable housing because people have to have somewhere to live. Do I see challenges with minority home ownership? I do not. I don't. Because I see so many different people coming here from other areas. I think sometimes we get caught in just the local market, but I have all kind of clients and they buy all kind of properties. Some buy least expensive properties and some buy very expensive properties, and minorities buy them all. So I don't see a problem as long as you have the proper education and the proper tools. Now, that is something that may not be readily available in lower income or minority communities.
Yeah, the education, as far as how to purchase a home, how to get ready to purchase a home. Because if you don't understand credit, if you don't have a savings plan to kind of fortify whatever it is that you want in a home. Most people have to have a sizable down payment or some type of down payment, I imagine. And if you haven't been working towards that, then it will seem out of reach. You can't, I don't know anybody, to be honest, who can walk into, any real estate company and expect to be able to sign for a home that is affordable with a 450 credit score, that kind of thing. So, our community especially needs to be educated on the impact and importance of credit. And, and think, those types of tools. Also, when it comes down to banking, I know that there are some people who, they don't believe in banking, yet they have to deal with the banks in order to, buy a home. So you're right. I think it lies in the educational piece. And our communities probably need to do more to try to educate one another on how to overcome those types of, at least those are the things we can control, because, once you get your credit to a certain place, you get your, as we say, you get your money up. You walk into a bank, any other barriers that are coming from the other side of the desk, or that's a totally different story.
Right.
But if we have our toolboxes ready with, everything that we need going in, then, we can fight the other battle in a different way. So, it's that question, I think, has maybe there are different perspectives that you can use to answer that one. So, Brother Edward, this conversation is always, a conversation that has so many different legs to it, because there's so many different topics that can just kind of shoot off from this conversation about housing and the changing landscape of real estate. And I think that, people are naturally afraid of change. And when they see changes happening, especially, fast, quick changes, you see, okay, looks like somebody has a for sale sign up, and then 2 weeks later, half of a home is built. The first thing we want to know is who's buying that home, who's building that home, and we really honestly want to know, does that person look like me, or is there somebody new moving into the area? And when you think about how communities are becoming more diverse, especially in the Sugar Hill area, around the area where I grew up, yes, it's not powdered sugar, because there are more people who have moved in that we have never seen before that don't look like us. And so, it lends a lot to this conversation. And I think that people need to educate themselves about how to protect their assets, how to protect the property that they own, the property that was left to them by their parents and grandparents, because, the truth be told, I'm sure that there are people who make a living out of, just watching these things. Hit the, they watch the deeds and the records to see, okay, is this person paying taxes? Is this person doing X, Y, Z? Yeah. So, I think we have to have some accountability and responsibility there too. And part of that is that educational piece, because if you think about it, I can't really say that my parents educated me on home buying and paying property taxes and things like that, because that was always what the parents, the adults in the family did. And you're right, Ms. Clarice, we have to teach our children and pass that stuff down. That's not happening anymore. It's not happening at all. It wasn't happening before. And it's becoming a thing that we do by default. When mama and daddy pass on, then, now all of a sudden I'm responsible for the taxes, and I'm responsible for the insurance, and I'm responsible for everything that I don't have any clue about. So yeah, we have to start educating our children now about what's going to be left behind and how they can handle it so that it won't be taken from them unfairly. And I'm not saying that, these housing developments are coming about from unfair practices, but I think if we're more educated in the community, then we might be able to find ways to make sure that we're the ones buying the property and building the homes, Brother Edward.
I think that's a good analysis. I like what you said. And I'm sure Jacinda can agree with all that, right, Jacinda? But having said that, I think that the people who come and buy a new house, Jacinda, if they're from out of state somewhere, they have huge down payments by virtue of them selling their home that they left, right? It's a good assumption. Because you have to meet the criteria of a minimum of 5% or 10% down on a new house. Look, let's just say 10%
or 20.
Who's saving of a $300,000 home? Who's saving $30,000 around here? Okay, who's saving that much up to put down on a $300,000 home? I kind of doubt that. I'm not here to prejudge people or the community itself, but just a good survey will tell you more in depth about that. But that's a lot of money. You got to put down 10%. Even if you go down and say, well, this is going to make it affordable for you, you think 5%. That's $15,000. Even that, it takes a while. By the time you accumulate that, things have ballooned up, where now it's 5% of 350,000 or 40,000. 400,000. I'm sorry. So you find that a lot, I'm sure, right?
So it all depends on what type of lending, and I am not a lender, so nobody take anything I say and say, Jacinda said this tonight, and that's what we got to do. I am a realtor, but I do work with lenders. It depends on what type of loan you qualify for. So you have USDA which is 100% financing and no money down. You have
But
FHA.
you got to have good credit for that, right? I mean, you got to. Is that
You're
excellent
gonna have
credit?
to have good credit if you're gonna purchase any property unless you're gonna pay all cash. You're gonna have to have decent credit. You know, you should want to have decent credit anyway. That makes
Yeah,
any
but
type of payment that you have lower.
if somebody's going to give you
credit is
100% financing, when you say 100%
You
financing, me
Uh-huh.
elaborate on that a little bit.
So a USDA loan is a rural development loan, which Conway would be a rural developmental area. And you
Okay.
can get 100% financing, but it's an income-based loan. And
Okay.
I cannot remember what the criteria is exactly for a single person. I think it's if you're single, you need to make no more than 45 or 50,000 a year. I could be wrong on my numbers. If you're a couple, you can't make over 105,000 a year combined. And then you would qualify for the USDA loan. And that would be 100% financing.
I think our audience needs to hear that. I think that's very important.
So I don't want to give the wrong numbers. See,
Right?
I would
Absolutely.
have to. Yeah, we would have to get a lender on here to give the specific criteria, but you have USDA, you have FHA, you have VA. If you're a veteran, you could do 100% financing with no money down. And then you have conventional, which would be your 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30% down, just depending upon your debt to income ratio. All this stuff depends on how much bills you have now, and how much money you make, how much money you have saved, and what you can afford. That's what it comes down to. If you got more bills than you can handle, you might not be able to handle a mortgage, even if you do have a good credit score.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of that is taken into account.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's considered, I guess, a good credit score to have going into a home buying situation?
Right now, I would say about a 640. Decent.
640. Okay. Yeah. I think it's
that's decent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seems like I've always heard about 640, 650, that kind of thing. So, well, you know, I guess the bottom line is, you know, anyone who is, you know, poised to buy a home, before you jump out there and say, yeah, I'm gonna walk into this bank today and see if I can get a home, or whatever the case is, or walk into this real estate office, you need to do your homework. And so when you have clients like that, Jacinda, who come in, I'm sure there's some qualifying questions that you ask before they start signing things and, you know, picking homes and all that good stuff. What are some things that people need to be equipped with or to understand before they begin talking to a realtor?
What people come to me with, if they come and they just have a question, I ask them, have they spoken with a mortgage lender? That's the first step. You have to have your pre-approval if you are not going to pay all cash, because some people do that. So if they're not going to pay cash, you have to have a pre-approval letter. If they don't have a mortgage lender, I'll give them 2, 3, maybe 4 choices. I'll ask them who they bank with. If they bank with, you know, Anderson Brothers or South State or something like that, I'll guide them to go to their bank. If they don't want to deal with their bank for that, I'll give them a selection of mortgage lenders to reach out to and just kind of compare rates. A lot of times when you work with a mortgage lender, if you have some blemishes on your credit or some debts that you need to clear, they will advise you on what you need to get cleared up, so that you will be pre-approved. It may take a while. If you have a hospital bill, they can see all that stuff. You know, if you have some back hospital bills, or you got a maxed out credit card, if you need to pay your car off, whatever you need to do to qualify, that mortgage lender can guide you and advise you. And then once you do that, it may take a while. You might be ready then, depending upon where you are. They'll reach back out to me or whoever your realtor of choice is and say, hey, this person is good to go. They're approved for $250. Let's see what we can find for them. Or they're approved for $250 FHA, or they're approved for $250 USDA. The type of loan sometimes depends upon where we're going to start looking. But that's the first step. Have a pre-approval.
Brother Edward, this is extremely valuable information, especially for those who are looking to purchase a home and who want to understand, what's going on in the communities around them. And, I think it's worth more community conversations as people see more and more development, because the development is not going to stop. It's going to continue. It's going to continue. And so, now's the time to do what Ms. Clarice is saying. Parents, have the conversations with your children about the value of what they have and will be left with, but also teach them how to protect it, how to take care of it. And then also, if you are someone who is looking to purchase a home, I don't think you should let the fact that you are, you have limited income stop you. You just have to do the homework to figure out what works for you and yours and within your income. Right. And then too, we're kind of naturally in an area where income is always going to be a challenge. Housing is totally connected to economics, and we're in a hospitality tourism area. And if you don't have a lot of sustainable, high-paying business and industry, we're always going to be contending with these hospitality and tourism wages. And so that's a whole nother conversation. But, again, I think that people need to understand that it's all kind of interwoven. And it either becomes a problem or it becomes something that we can be educated on and figure out how to deal with it, to make it work for our individual situation. So, Jacinda, you've given us a lot of great information tonight, and I really do appreciate you being here with us. And we hope to have you back. If I want to acknowledge those the audience tonight, and I think you answered Sister Joella's question. She wanted to know: do you have more buyers paying cash for homes today, or are they seeking financing options?
Either or. I don't have any more cash buyers than I have any more finance buyers. Okay. It just depends on the property and depends on the type of client and the type of buyer. A lot of investors pay cash. Some people, like Mr. McQueen was saying earlier, if they sell their home from the north or from Cali or wherever, and they've sold it for $600,000 or $700,000, they might come down here and pay cash. You have a lot of that. So I don't have any more one than the other.
Okay. All right. And we certainly want to thank our viewers who've tuned in for this topic. Linda Carter Davis, thank you so much. She's watching from Illinois, Whittemore High School class of 1962. Yes. And so this is awesome. Everyone is saying great job, Jacinda. And you really did give us a great education tonight. So we really want to thank you for this. Well, so if someone
for having me,
you're welcome.
You don't charge for information like you give out the really.
No.
We have I'll let April say it. What do we call it?
This is free 99 tonight. Free 99.
All right.
But if you need anything else, you're gonna have to take it up with Jacinda and work something out with her after the show. But what Brother Edward and I brought to you tonight is free 99 to help you get started, right, Brother Edward?
Absolutely. Okay. And I like those full scenarios about financing and how people can really get their home. I think that's very important. Okay. Very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. We really do appreciate it, and we'd love to have you back. All right.
Oh, where you're located in Myrtle Beach? Your office? Your office is in Myrtle Beach, right?
My office is in Myrtle Beach. Yes, but I will do a home visit if anybody needs me to come out and do a consultation. I'm more than happy to do that.
Okay.
All right. So should they just contact the Century 21 Broadhurst office, or do you have a phone number, website you'd like to share tonight?
I do. I should have put that up on the screen.
That's all right. Give it to me. I'll put it on the screen. Go ahead.
So my cell phone is 843-504-6949. You can reach me there. My website is thelifestyleliaison.com. You can also reach me there. I'm always on social media, so feel free to DM me or anything like that.
That's good. Fantastic.
That is fantastic. TheLifestyleLiaison.com. All right. Yes. All right then. Okay, Jacinda. Well, I know that's nice. I like that. Well, thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time tonight, and hopefully we'll have you back soon.
I hope
Have a
so.
great
Y'all
one.
take care.
All
You
right.
too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I tell you, Brother Edward, that was some good stuff.
Look, I like those 4 options. I mean, yeah, I've heard them before, but there's nothing like repeatability. Okay, or something like that. And I think one of the 2 more attractive options, one was the VA, and I'm not a veteran, but you get 100% financing, and to attain the credit score that's required, that shouldn't be a huge task for most people, because if you're a veteran, there are a lot of benefits that you're probably getting, and in addition with you having a job or something. I just think that's affordable. Okay. And the other one was that the DA?
The USDA, FHA, and VA were the 3 that she
mentioned. Horry
mentioned.
County qualifies everybody for that. I mean, Horry County is fits in that area. Okay, it's rural. I think it has to do. You have to have some rural criteria for continuing with it. But anyway,
that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope the city council was listening to something like that. So, and information that was put out yesterday by the city council, we don't know yet, but hey, we've got somebody here who's just going to give us a good summary of what happened at city council yesterday. No emergency situation, but it's information that we need to know, and we don't usually get every week from the city council. There's always something that there at the city council that look here, the code words: Race Path needs to know. Okay, Sugar Hill needs to know. All right, so we're happy to have somebody who's going to do this on a continuing basis. So he promised, and so let's bring on Mr. Malachi. Mr. Malachi R. Hickman.
Thank you for having me on, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I like the title, man.
Thank you.
So, correspondent.
The city council meeting was very it was very short, it was very brief, but it was also very information dense. So there was 5 main things that I pulled from it. But to begin with, during the public input portion of the council meeting, Mr. Norfolk reminded the city council of Winnemo's impact on the Horry County community. In her impassioned speech, Ms. Falk challenged the council to work together with the Winnemo Race Path Historical Society to renovate and to use the Winnemo Elementary School to serve thousands in our community. So it was a very good turnout. Many Winnemo alumni came out yesterday, and to support Ms. Falk. I came out to go support Ms. Falk, as well as record what was going on too. After Ms. Falk, during the special presentation portion of the meeting, Ms. Sherry Coutane brought attention to her local nonprofit named Family Outreach of Horry County. This organization is dedicated to helping build strong families in Horry County. Its mission statement is: our mission is to prevent abuse, neglect, and poverty by providing educational programs and services to families. Family Outreach facilitates programs to support disadvantaged families. But Ms. Coutane came out before the council to ask for some financial support to continue to aid our community. The program also accepts donations. So the phone number for the program is 843-234-2350. And their physical address is Earnhardt Street, Conway, South Carolina, 29228. All right. Afterwards, the chief of the Waccamaw Indian people, Harold Burster Hatcher, urged the council to work to change Columbus Day to a holiday that would be less offensive, more inclusive. While speaking, Chief Hatcher made several allusions to Christopher Columbus being similar to that of Adolf Hitler, and he used to stand on this. He used the basis that both historical figures were responsible for the genocide of minority populations. So he felt as if this for the Christopher Columbus. If Christopher Columbus to be celebrated on this day, it was as if Adolf Hitler, the German dictator during World War II, would be celebrated for doing the terrible things he did during World War II. Moving forward, the council approved the development, the development being built out on close to St. Paul on College Jolly Road, with the agreement that the business that's building it will develop the development with a green mindset in place. They will try to conserve as much of the environment as possible and try to protect as much as possible. While there was some pushback, some council members felt as if there was not enough information given out. I feel as if this was the right choice, because by right, they could the company could have went ahead and did it anyway, but this was more so like a preventative measure to make sure that if the company was to do it, make sure they weren't going to destroy the environment. So, new transportation tech may be on the horizon for downtown Conway, as a scooter service is starting to be.
Scooter.
Right, a scooter service was approved.
All right.
So I'm going to have some fun with that. But Pills, a scooter share app owned by a local CCU student named Antonio Knight, plans to set up this service for various places downtown, mainly at the Boardwalk and several places downtown, and it's going to be basically from the Boardwalk to Collins Park. So that is everything that I have written down.
Okay. Well, Malachi, we find that well, I don't find what's been happening also, and if you could elaborate just a bit on it. I'm going to make it kind of brief. The fact about the Whittemore Elementary School's endeavor, the group called the Whittemore Race Pass, society. It's these banners, man. They're very impressive banners that are going around, and you've been chosen to go and articulate the purpose and all the things about the banners at the various places. Most notably now it's been the churches, right?
Yes. For the last couple Sundays, I have been charged with taking these banners and showing them to the community and getting our community involved. So with this, one of the main questions whenever I'm speaking about these banners is to ask, I'd like to lead or eventually work in there. How many of us have been affected by Whittemore? And another way I can ask this question is, how many of us are grandparents? How many of our parents? How many of us have been affected by Whittemore Elementary, Whittemore High, and Whittemore Park Middle? So by asking these questions, you really show people how close they are to the problem. Because even if they're not descendants of Whittemore High School alumni, Whittemore Elementary alumni, such as myself, a lot of people still went to Whittemore Park Middle. So it's like they're still in this. They're still a part of this.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Sometimes you just have to remind them, like, this is your history too. You are a part. This is part of you. So at the last couple Sundays, I have been going and talking in front of people and urging them, if they have history with Whittemore Park Elementary, Whittemore Park High, to help me help them record their history. So by doing one of the main ways by doing this is using the StoryCorps app. Forgive me. And using the StoryCorps app, you can basically record your audio of you being interviewed, or you answering questions, or you even telling a story about your experience with Whittemore Elementary and Whittemore High. So actually there was going to be an event on, give me 1 second. There was going to be an event on this upcoming Friday at Coastal at the Anthony and Ballroom to give more information to the community about how to utilize this app. But I think this is a very important endeavor to us, because the way I see it, God forbid, the way I see it, if the city council does decide to tear down the school, we still need to do everything in our power to record these stories and have them so we can pass it on. Because it's one thing if they tear down the stories, but we need to not let tear down. It's one thing if they tear down the building, but we need to not let these stories, these experiences, these memories go to waste. So that's what I'm really pushing for right now. We need to record these stories. We need to get them written down, and we need to get this out to the community.
All right, that's a good synopsis. Really appreciate that. I'm sure the people who are listening and hopefully who heard about the endeavor of the Whittemore Racetrack Society is doing now, they have a bit more information on it and help to make decisions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so look, thanks so much again, and see you next week. Well, Malachi is going to be covering a couple of things for the magazine here between now and the next city council report. So thank you so much again, Malachi, and we'll be hopefully seeing you again, I'm sure.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
All right.
All right, Brother Edward. Well, we had a great show tonight, and wonderful information from Jacinda, and excellent information from Malachi about the city council updates as usual. And we were going to have another guest on the show this evening, but she could not attend tonight because it is her birthday, and that is President Annis Austin Staley from the Whittemore Alumni Association. So happy birthday, Miss Annis. We hope that you,
happy 39th.
We hope that she's having a wonderful birthday. So I'm going to mention on behalf of the Whittemore Alumni Association that we are getting ready to open the scholarship application window so that we can start accepting applications for the Whittemore Alumni Association Scholarship. It is the annual scholarship that we award to students in Horry County and beyond who are descendants of Whittemore alumni. And so efforts are well underway to release this information. We will have it on our website really soon. And so our students will be able to submit their applications through the website. They can also touch base with their guidance counselors at their schools, and that information will be given to Horry County schools and other schools to disseminate to students. And we're having a great time coming up with ideas on what we can do to not only present these scholarship awards to the students, but also to mentor them and coach them throughout their college careers, and even before they start to think about applying for college. And so stay tuned for more information. Maybe we can have Ms. Annis on in the coming week or two to talk a little bit more about the scholarship and how to access the scholarship, and also how any Whittemore alums can donate to the organization or the mission of the organization. And also we have some alumni engagement activities that we're working on for the coming year, including some more meet and greets over the course of the year. We had a very successful winter meet and greet, and we were able to connect with a lot of Whittemore alums locally, and took in a great number of pledges and donations for the scholarship fund and for the organization.
Right.
But one thing that we are working towards is the the famous, I'll say the famous Whittemore Gala that typically happens in December. We have some information that we will release really soon about that coming back. And so lots of great things that are happening. And if you want to be a part of the Whittemore Alumni Association, and you are an alum, or you're a former faculty or staff member, descendant, yes, I'm a legacy. We're definitely trying to pull in more legacy members, and we have a great deal of legacy members who are coming to the association because they want to help grow the association and definitely keep it sustainable for years to come. Please be in touch with us. We have a Facebook page, Whittemore Alumni Association, or you can be in touch with me. I'll give you more information. Or you can actually visit our website where you can find out more information about what we do, and that's whittemorealumniassociation.org. So you can go to that website, and you'll be able to see some of the information about this past year's scholarship recipients, but we're soon going to update our scholarship page with the application and more information about how students can apply for this year. So
absolutely.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure to give that information as well. So Brother Edward, it's been a great show tonight.
Well, let my audience know now, the kind of information that you just spill out there. You got to tell the people what your role is.
My role?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What position you hold at?
So my role in the Whittemore Alumni Association as a legacy member, that I'm a legacy because my mother was Whittemore High School class of 1962, along with Ms. Linda Carter Davis and her classmate. My role is a secretary in the association, but also I'm the marketing and media chairperson. So handling the website,
they knew how to pick them. They knew how to pick them.
Well, I'm more than happy to do it, and like I said, a lot of the legacy members who come on board, they're really sinking their teeth into what we can do to grow the association, and we need to connect the alumni with the descendants, the legacy. Yeah, because we want to learn from the alumni, but also we want to make sure that we're capturing some history on a different level when it comes down to the experience, coming through Whittemore, the Whittemore High School experience. And so one thing that was brought up at one of our meetings just recently, and Dr. Veronica Gerald brought it to our attention, an alumni of Whittemore High School does not necessarily mean that you were a graduate. So you're an alum if you graduated or if you came through the system but did not graduate. So that means if you have a connection to Whittemore, we definitely want you to be a part of the association. There's a small membership fee, which the membership fee goes towards the mission of the organization. $25 a year. That's it. And there are lots of member benefits that come with that. And so if you want to know more, of course, like I said, get in touch with me or, visit our website. But, this is a great way for us to unify the community and, to support education. The primary mission of the Whittemore Alumni Association is to develop the scholarship opportunity for students. And typically there are 10 scholarships awarded each year. We have not determined how many we're going to award this year because we definitely want to grow the scholarship. And we want to grow it not only in number, but we also want to grow it financially. And so we need the community support for that. And really, we would love to diversify the association. So if there's anyone who's naturally interested and passionately interested in helping us to create a scholarship opportunity that will benefit primarily our African-American students who need financial support to go to college, then the Whittemore Alumni Association is definitely an organization that you'll want to learn more about and also become a member of. So I feel blessed to be a part of it. I'm representing my mom. I pull out her Bulldog cap and her T-shirt every chance I get. And, my mom still had her class ring. Wow. And so I have that in my, yes, I have that. And that's incredible from 1962. Definitely trying to just, keep her memory alive. And I know she was a true Bulldog fan through and through. And there are others who are coming on board who definitely want to uplift the Bulldog pride that their parents and grandparents had. So yes, and Sister Jella says yes, absolutely. And so if you want more information, just visit our website, WhittemoreAlumniAssociation.org. And there's so many great things that are happening now through the Whittemore Historical Race Path Historical Society with the preservation of the history, the Whittemore Alumni Association, which operates in a mission to support education and particularly a college education, and any student who is interested in attending a college, whether it's a 2-year or 4-year college, is eligible for this scholarship. So now's the time to get more information. That money is out there. Come on and get it. Come on and get it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to the whole Whittemore Historical Race Path Society.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the ball.
They're on the ball for their preservation efforts. And, the questions that we've received as we are talking throughout the community about the Whittemore Alumni Association and the Preservation Society, or the Historic Society, is, you all the same thing. And we're not the same in terms of the missions. The mission of the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society is different from the mission of the Whittemore Alumni Association. But, the foundational piece of it is that it's all Whittemore alumni who are, who've kind of taken the helm on 2 separate initiatives to make sure that the history is preserved, which is through the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society, and to make sure that there is a scholarship opportunity for descendants of Whittemore alumni, and that's through the Whittemore Alumni Association. So support both. You can support both in those 2 wonderful missions.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Yeah.
So look, we've had a great evening today. It's a lot of wealth has been wheeling around, and we're certainly thankful for that. I'm thankful for that. That we've had great people to come and give us information. Okay, so until next week, April. Anything else you want to say? I'm just going to.
Well, we cannot leave this broadcast without, of course, making sure that we honor the observance of Black History Month. And I've certainly been doing my share of it since it came in on the 1st. I'm wearing my T-shirts and I'm wearing my dashikis, and I'm taking in the history lessons that I see across social media. And, I think that, of course, Black history is world history. Let's not get it twisted. That's why we should just call get it twisted. Yeah.
Right. We just should rename it Extra Black History Month.
We got extra black.
We got 11 more months.
Black History Month. I love it. Extra.
The other 11 months is typically Black History Month. I mean, we're not going away.
No, we're not going away. Right. We're here to stay. But yeah, like they say, Black History 365, and that is the truth. Black history is world history. Okay. So as you're celebrating and you're wearing your dashikis and T-shirts and wraps and all that good stuff, also taking the history lessons, because we are honoring the past, present, and the future of our people, and every stride, every achievement. Even the tough times have made us who we are, and so it's all Black history. And so make sure that you take in some observance, taking a play, a film, go hear some great singing, taking the culture. If you haven't had a chance to do that, really honor and celebrate Black History Month. And I just want to say that.
Right. No, we're probably going to be saying this periodically. And I won't take up a whole lot of time with this, but they're going to be bringing the statue of
Harriet Tubman
to Georgetown.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Which is now in Albany, New York. Not Albany, but Albany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, New York. And that's Georgetown, I believe, is going to be the first to go in South Carolina. Okay, and that's because of Harriet Tubman's nephew, I believe, Bowley. Okay. And well, it's a lot behind that. Okay. But anyway, in the interest of time, we're going to be saying this periodically because it starts on August the 1st. And it'll be in Georgetown at the Rainey Park. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's monumental.
It is.
Georgetown to be the first to do that. Okay, it's going to be there for three months.
Awesome.
Kudos to Marilyn Hemingway
Mm-hmm.
and the Gullah Geechee
Chamber.
Chamber. That's really.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be periodically bringing it up because it's something that it's a milestone, I believe. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Georgetown is so historic anyway.
It really is.
Okay, Georgetown is really historic.
It really is. Mm-hmm.
So until next week. Who do we have for next week?
Oh, so next week, hold on, let me go to my notes real quick, Brother Edward. We are going to have an amazing show next week with our special guest joining us. Her name is Janice Gilliard, and she's an African-American genealogist. She is out of the I think she's out of the DMV area, and basically she is going to come on and talk to us about the importance of tracing our African roots and also finding out more about our family trees, because I'm not going to give it away, but she and I have a wonderful story to connect the dots on why this show is so important. And it involves my connection to her. And so she's going to be here next week to talk about that. So if you have ever had any thoughts about tracing your family roots, trying to find out more about your ancestors and your African connection and things that were just always on your mind about your family tree and your genealogy, Miss Gilliard is the person who is going to point us in the right direction, and she's going to share some amazing stories of discoveries that she's made about herself and also others who came to her for help to trace their roots. So join us.
It's going to be exciting.
It is going to be exciting. Come with your notepad. So she's going to tell you how to get started, where to look, give you some resources on what you can do to start that process. And it's great. It kind of goes along with everything that we've been talking about. You remember Reverend Adamson was on the show, I believe it was last week, about StoryCorps. And I think that that's a wonderful resource because it is important for us to start recording as much as possible, stories and just anecdotes, things that we're getting from our family, our grandparents and our parents, because we won't have the opportunity to capture that, those great stories and that great genealogy once they're gone. And so I'm sure that she's going to talk about the importance of doing that as you're tracing your family roots as well, because every story has some type of a connection, a line or a root, so to say. So we'll have her next week, and I believe we have a slot available unless you're working on something, Brother Edward, for the 21st.
Well, the 21st we have Miss Miss Funny.
Okay.
Miss Frida Funny. She will come and talk about mental health, which is another big issue around that has to be dealt with, and we don't know if it's being addressed properly or not, or adequately. Mm-hmm. But interesting things and interesting topics within that she has forwarded to us. Mm-hmm. That they want to come on, and she will bring a guest on, somebody an expert in that field, to kind of further inform us some of the things that we take for granted, I guess, about mental health, and they're going to address that. That should be very interesting. Okay? That's
going to be a wonderful show. Yeah. And then on February the 28th, we're going to have Shauna, who is going to talk to us about the importance of bone marrow transplants for African Americans. And she works with a foundation that actually works really hard to find bone marrow matches, but also she has a foundation that she is starting because of a personal experience that she's going through. And so this is some really important medical information that needs to be disseminated to the African American community, because we don't know a lot about bone marrow matches and how it can save lives. And so that's rounding out our month. Genealogy, we're going to talk about mental health, and then we're going to talk about, from a medical standpoint, something that could really save Black lives. So we got it going on, Brother Edward.
Why you sound like Sugar Hill? You got it going.
All day, every day. Don't forget.
We got it going on. All right.
I haven't heard you say it in a long time. What's the capital of Conway?
Sugar Hill.
There you go. You used to say that all the time. Yes. You used to say that all the time when we were on the radio.
On the radio, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen a little bit. But
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, great night tonight. Everyone, please remain safe. COVID is alive and well. We're still in cold and flu season very much. So protect yourselves. And we hope to see you next week, same time, Tuesday, 7 p.m. And we thank you all for joining in from far and near. So have a great evening, everyone.
See you next week.
Yeah.
God willing.
God willing.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.